In 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation designating May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which that date falls as Police Week. Throughout this week, our nation honors and pays tribute to law enforcement officers who made the ultimate sacrifice to keep our country and our communities safe. When Republicans control the House, we mark this week by moving legislation to support our police officers and help them keep our communities safe. In stark contrast, this liberal, progressive majority is not moving a single bill to support law enforcement during this year's Police Week. Instead, Democrats are choosing to ignore Police Week. Even though 2020 was the deadliest year on record for police officers in 50 years. Even though barely 1 month ago, Capitol Police Officer Billy Evans, a father of two, was killed defending this very building in which we stand. Even though more police officers have been shot and killed in the first 4 months, 4.5 months of 2021, than in all of 2020 and all of 2019. I guess that's not surprising coming from the party that has openly attacked our law enforcement officers and called for defunding, dismantling, and abolishing the police. Don't believe me? Just take their word for it. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib tweeted, and I quote, "Policing in our country is inherently and intentionally racist," end quote. The Congresswoman then went on and said, and again I quote, "No more policing, incarceration, and militarization." Congresswoman Cori Bush called St. Louis's decision to eliminate $4 million from the city's police budget as a, quote, "historic move that marks a new future for the city." And then there is Chairwoman Maxine Waters, Chairwoman of the Financial Services Committee, who tweeted, and I read the tweet verbatim, "Police reform is not enough. Getting rid of serial, racist, ignorant, and stupid cops must be a top priority. Let's call them all out," end quote. Not only is this disrespectful to the men and women who put their lives on the line every day to protect our communities, it's actually dangerous. The stats speak for themselves. In Democrat-run cities who defunded the police, they have seen increases in crime. Let's look at some of the numbers. Austin, Texas, they cut funding by police by $150 million. And in return, they saw a 50% spike in homicides. Los Angeles, LA defunded the police by $175 million. And they too experienced an increase of crime, 11.6% rise in homicides. Then there's New York City. New York City cut police funding by $1 billion. That's billion with a B. And in return, New York City saw a 97% rise in shootings and a 45% increase in homicides. Let me repeat that for you because the stats are so alarming. A 97% increase in shootings and a 45% increase in homicides. Mr. Speaker, House Republicans support law enforcement officers and want to help them do their jobs safely, effectively, and professionally. And that's why, if we defeat this previous question, I will offer an amendment to the rule to consider Congressman Don Bacon's Back the Blue Act, Congressman John Rutherford's Protect and Serve Act, and Congressman McCall, Cuellar, and Shabbat's Jamie Zapata and Victor Avila Federal Law Enforcement Protection Act. I will do that if we defeat this previous question. Let's talk about each one of those bills. The Back the Blue Act. This bill protects our police officers by making it a federal crime to kill or assault a federal law enforcement officer. The Protect and Serve Act. This bill creates enhanced penalties for anyone who targets law enforcement officers and purposefully harms them. The Jamie Zapata and Victor Avila Federal Law Enforcement Protection Act. This is a bipartisan piece of legislation. It will ensure individuals who harm or attempt to harm U.S. federal officers or employees serving abroad can be brought to justice and prosecuted here in the United States.